What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Dave's Daily Dives, where I dig into the major market indexes, give you some key levels that you can keep an eye on. But it doesn't stop there, because then I give you 5 Zacks Rank, in this case, Zacks Rank number 1 strong buy and Zacks Rank number 2 buy stocks that are at or just about to break out from their 52-week highs. So some actionable items. And in the meantime, we got to dig in here. So this is the S&P 500 for the longest. I was using this May to June fib. Well, now we're looking July, sort of this July low to August high. Same story. And it's not the most fantastic or bullish chart. I was telling people to worry about this 50-day moving average at 2450, and today we did not get above that moving average. Thing is, we've got a lot of levels in here from this fib, including this 2438, which is pretty much spot on where we closed at today. And again, this is from the fib retracement levels that I drew from this June low, late June low, to the all-time highs here. So still in a little bit of a downtrend here. We could certainly draw a downtrend across the top, starting to develop this little channel. But that's one of my favorite patterns to look for, though, is when the market finally breaks above that trend channel. It usually goes and runs for a little bit, but right now, obviously, we're coming under some pressure here. You didn't need me to show that just in the S&P 500 chart. You could see it also in the volatility index. So here's a SIBO volatility index, and you will see this spike we had up in volatility. So this was World War III, right, with comments between Trump and North Korea. And then here is the Charlottesville thing. And then now we're still at this sort of inflated level of, or heightened level of volatility, rather. We do have the Jackson Hole summit that's happening, and I believe we've got a speech out of Janet Yellen tomorrow, which could reel in some of these fears. One more thing I want to look at is the Russell 2000 here, because it's been trading. I'm using IWM as proxy. That's the Russell 2000 ETF. Something I want to point out, this has basically been in a very choppy sort of range for most of the year. So when IWM got below and the Russell got below that 200-day moving average, obviously it's a little bit bearish, but really the bottom end of the range was more of a concern for me. And we've got, at least in the short run, we're starting to creep higher just a little bit. So we'll see if that can continue over the course of the next few trading weeks. But for now, I suppose we need to be keeping an eye on this. And again, this is one of those downward channels that perhaps is starting to break a little bit to the upside. Again, we've seen this time and time again, where you get these channels to the downside, and then they break a little bit. Of course, this wasn't as bullish of a break, but still a break nonetheless. Then you had the break there. So could this be happening again? We'll have to keep an eye on it, okay? Now, 5 Zacks Rank number 1 strong buy and number 2 buy stocks that are looking like they want to break out from their 52-week highs. The first is Arista Networks, and you can see gaps on earnings. Unfortunately, whenever you get this big gap, takes this shaken money flow and kind of renders it obsolete, because the calculation there does not like gaps. So you got to kind of put that to the side when you're making your evaluation here. But you see the big gap up here, got into the gap a little bit, reversed higher. Now we're up at 52-week highs. So if you want to chase this bad boy, I think you're going to have to be prepared in case it dips. So a stop down here below 157. That's a little wider than most people like to use, I know. It's a little more than 10%. But that's if you want to chase it, that's definitely the way to play it, is get up under that swing low. That's Arista Networks, ANET. Then keeping the network theme, I suppose, is Extreme Networks, ticker EXTR. And remember what I was saying about the small caps and this sort of channel downward, and the S&P also, channel downward that gets broken? Well, that's what you got here, channel downward that got broken. Now it's here at 52-week highs. If you want to play this one, you can put your stop just underneath the $10 range, $10 level, get in this gap a little bit, and hope that it keeps on trucking. Again, these are Zacks Rank #1 strong buy and Zacks Rank #2 buy stocks. So that means that they've had recent earnings estimate revisions to the upside, meaning the analysts think they're going to make a few more bucks than they have in the past. So that could be a good thing here for Extreme Networks, ticker EXTR. Then we've got Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. They've been steaming ahead, and not a lot of pullbacks, which is great when you're sort of a long-term holder looking for something that's going to be a little less stressful. Look at how nicely the 50-day here has provided support on multiple occasions. This is something you could wait for a retracement to the 50-day, or put in, like I like to do, half a position right here chasing it, add the other half if it gets back down to that 50-day moving average. Give you a nice, slow and steady wins the race kind of pace, cruising along in Royal Caribbean, ticker RCL. Then we have Taseko Mines, ticker TGB. Every once in a while, guys, I like to throw in a cheap stock or a stock under 10, $5 stock. Give you something that maybe you can go ahead and roll the dice on a little bit that's not going to break the bank. Most of the time, stocks are $2 for a reason, but at least this will give you something that you can investigate a little bit further. Do have the relative the last 52-week high here at $1.60. Stock retraced, found support, and then has since been going higher. What I like to do when I see a scenario like this is bust out my fib, draw a nice little retracement from the lows to the high, and then I can, let me get this actually a little bit better here. I don't need to be that messy. Then I can put my Fibonacci extension levels on this, so I can do that by adding, in this case, since this is the positive direction, that would be in the negative direction in terms of putting the numbers in the system here. First stop, that 38.2% extension, which I like to put in there. And if we look at this here, that's all the way up at 210 right now. So a little bit of room to run. You can see how it bunched up here at the previous high. So if you wanted to chase something like this, put your stops down below that previous 52-week high. That was Taseko Mines, TGB. And the last one I got for you is Vantiv, ticker VNTV. Really was in a little bit of a funk here. This is sort of a downward trend here, which is broken recently, and then now this huge move up through the 52-week high to new highs. A little bit toppy, I suppose, with such a rip-your-face-off rally move here. Now it's starting to stall out a little bit in the 70s. You might want to wait for it to creep back a little bit to get a better entry. Otherwise, your next support level is going to be down here close to the 50-day moving average, actually, right around 64. So if you're comfortable with chasing and having a 10% stop loss, by all means. If not, dig into this stock a little bit more, learn more about it, and see if you can time the entry a little better. So things looking a little bit overbought. We've got Commodity Channel Index, which was all the way up at 300. Now it's down to 73.81. One continuation pattern I like to look for a lot in Momentum Trader is I wait for this overbought stochastic Commodity Channel Index. Oh boy, I'm 5 for 5 today. Coming down to the zero line. So an overbought Commodity Channel Index comes down to the zero line, and oftentimes when the stock is trading at 52-week highs, it'll bounce off that zero line, giving you another chance to buy when it creeps down there. So I think I would wait a little bit to see if that trade could develop, and then go ahead and get on board. And that was Vantiv, ticker VNTV. Well, that's all I've got for you here today. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Bartosiastics, or of course, can go ahead and get signed up with us here on Zacks.com as I manage our Momentum Trader as well as Home Run Investor Service. So thanks for hanging out with me here today on Dave's Daily Dive. I'll talk to you guys next week.